I just want to say to Will Smith, look, I got your back, bro. Stay strong. April Fools, you're a dick. Oh, wow. You're on my side for once. Yes, it's April Fool. Look, I'm not here to humiliate Will Smith. He gets enough of that at home. But,
oh, wow. Wow.
also, I must say, comparing a woman to Demi Moore looking her hottest is not exactly the worst insult I've ever heard in the world. I mean, alopecia, it's not leukemia, okay? Alopecia is when your hair falls out. Appalachia, when your teeth fall out. That's it. I mean, there are worse things. And also, I'm supposed to feel bad for Will Smith defending the honor of the woman who was fucking August Alsina. I mean, how... Also, the other thing that is very a little fishy about this is that when Chris Rock told the joke, you cut to Will Smith and he's laughing at the joke, right? And then he sees that his wife is giving him the stink eye. I blame toxic femininity. I do. But now, of course, there's a controversy on top of the controversy because the Academy says that they asked Will after that to leave, and he refused, and then got into a shoving match with Liza Minnelli. It happens once in a while that there's like a national moment, right, where the whole country is paying attention to something. It doesn't happen that often. Very often a tragedy like Kennedy assassination or 9/11, but it could be the O.J. verdict or, well, we just had another one.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
And it exposed, I thought, a lot of aspects of this society we have which are not terribly positive. Toxic masculinity, victim culture I could go into, and I might. Liberal hypocrisy, I think, was the big loser. I mean, what did you think when Will Smith got a standing ovation from that crowd?
I couldn't believe it. Could you? I mean, the idea that, I mean, first of all, I think Jim Carrey made the comment, spineless came to mind, but it was one of those ideas of how inertia was like, well, this is what we always do. We're supposed to stand when somebody wins an award. So you do it this moment in time, and the amnesia was instantaneous. And I just thought, first of all, why is he even there to be able to get the award at the end of the evening, number one? Because I remember as a prosecutor prosecuting quite a few assault and batteries, and they didn't stand by to go, no, I've got the rest of my kid's soccer game. I got to stay for this. It didn't happen. So the fact that he was there to be like, well, here's my award was shocking in and of itself, let alone a standing ovation. Doesn't happen.
I think a lot of it's just because it was Will Smith. If it had been anyone else, they're probably ushered out of there very quickly. I do feel like it's part of the job of a world-famous celebrity attending an award show to absorb mild insults directed at you and yours. It's, you know, I ran for office, and people said things around me I didn't like, and I didn't get up and smack anyone.
It does look like those people, those are the very people who are always talking about microaggressions in the workplace and how you should be, you know, not have to face an uncomfortable moment, or, you know, people shouldn't touch you unwantedly. Suddenly they were okay with this. It just seemed to show to me broken morals, like you really have no principles. When it's a star that you like in the service of some vague principle of intersexuality and intersectionality, like your wife shouldn't be insulted even in a mild way, then it's like, well, too bad. That's what I like. It made me feel good, so I forget my principles.
It's the reason why liberals are so repulsive. They don't have any fixed beliefs. They weaponize everything cynically. And they're so transparent about it. And then at the same time, so sanctimonious about who they are.
Right.
They have zero principles. They weaponize everything against their enemies and then ignore and give license to whoever's on their side. But then at the same time are so self-righteous about who they are, and that's what makes them uniquely repulsive.
It was a bad night for liberal hypocrisy.
True.
They look bad because here's the thing. The Oscars, whether they like it or not, it's not fair. But they kind of are a representation to a lot of America of the Democratic Party. Andrew, you talked about, I read your quote on the air a couple of times about when you were running for president and you would start to talk to people, sometimes in a place where they didn't know much about you. Then you would say you were a Democrat. And it'd be kind of like this, and it's like the toxic D. Why is the D so toxic? Because they look at the Oscars and it represents sort of like pandering. It represents sort of like we're not connected to everyday people. You know, look at every year the winners. I mean, this year it was a disability, gay, and race, which there should be movies made about these topics. They're important topics, but it looks like the Oscars only do those topics.
Bill, I wouldn't get a sigh from people when I said I was a Democrat. I would get like a recoil, like I just, turn another color. And a lot of it is around the places I was campaigning in Iowa or Ohio. They associate the Democratic Party with this kind of insincere moralizing that condescends to them.
Embedded in the sense of liberal superiority is this idea that conservatives are imbeciles. They're uneducated, they're primitive.
And then we moved to South Carolina with a very significant population of people of color. And it means the candidates spend so much of their time catering to those first two states. Overall, do you think that should change?
I'm just a player in the game.
Country of seat fillers and stars.
Now, that's the live studio audience.
These are not seat fillers. No, these are seat stars. So can I ask about alopecia? Because I must admit, when I saw the thing on TV, then I go to the Vanity Fair party, great party, and then I didn't hear about it till then that she had, but you don't know she had alopecia. And I had heard this word, but it was vague in my mind what it was. So I went like, oh, well, that's a very different thing. And then I found out what it is, and I'm like, oh, no, it's not that different. I mean, if you are so lucky in life as to have that be your medical problem, just say thanks, God. It's not life-threatening. You know, it's part of, for most people, 80% of men, 50% of women, it's part of aging. Aging is, trust me, I know, it's the degradation of the flesh. It happens to all of us. And, you know, just put on a fucking wig like everybody else at the Oscars if it bothers you so much. I mean,
oh, this person did this to this person, and isn't this person then a terrible person? Oh, this person did this to this person, and isn't this person then a terrible person?
Oh, here on Marklar, we refer to all people, places, and things as Marklar.
Where the real problems around us are just getting worse and worse, and you can feel the anger and frustration rising,
all right, well,
regardless of your political party.
I know one of your big issues these days is what's going on with men and boys in this country.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
Yes.
It's so interesting. Like, just in this space last week, I was doing a thing at the end of the show about Zelensky and how women in this country are super hot for him. And I was saying, for all the talk about toxic masculinity, when a guy acts in a traditional, manly, badass way, women seem to like it, and then right on cue, Will Smith slaps a guy, and 56% of women were on Team Will. This is the day after, maybe that's changed, it's the day after the Oscars. So they liked it. They liked it. And I would say there was a display of manliness that night, but it was from Chris Rock.
Yeah.
It's interesting, I told this story on TMZ, but I'll tell it again on Tuesday here on Friday. At the party, I was talking to someone, a very, very well-respected, I think he's a great person, celebrity, member of the African-American community. I won't say who it was. But somebody in the crowd, it may have been me, said, what would have happened if Chris had hit him back? And without having to think, he said he couldn't. He had the whole race on his shoulders. Well, I thought that was kind of a brilliant assessment and kind of real. and showed Chris Rock as as a guy who can think on his feet.
It's also a reason why I think what Will Smith did is all the more Hollywood and problematic, knowing Chris Rock couldn't do anything back. I mean, let's just play that moment back in our minds.
Exactly.
Right? You're going to walk up on stage.
Right.
You're going to not stand there and tell me what the problem is. You're going to really, sucker punch me with an open hand. Then you're going to scuttle back to your seat, look at your perch, and then shout at me. I mean, if it was in the real world, I can't imagine this is how it actually would go down. But I thought his restraint, I got to tell you, I wasn't part of that 56% who saw manliness in what Will Smith did. I see sexiness in restraint and foresight, and a husband realizing what are the consequences of me taking this action on our entire family. That is sexy, and I'm very hot for that. But the idea of trying to come to my defense, and as you point out, he only did so, I mean, he laughed at first until he got that wife look from that had the whole head go this way, and he's, oh, this is my cue? Okay, I'll go up. And that's not masculine either.
Well, right, and that really encapsulates cancel culture, because that's what happens. People laugh, and then they go, oh, wait, I'm supposed to be offended. And then they overreact, right? But are men in crisis? I mean, I know this is a big issue for you. When you look at the statistics, things like math, reading, admissions to college, women are all leaping forward ahead of men. In 2019, last year, I guess we have it, 14% more women received bachelor degrees. There's this idea in America that if you don't go to college, you're doomed, and more men aren't, and more women are.
Men are pigs. We are. I got 7 brothers, and I know we're pigs. Right, women? Yeah. Just too damn bad we own everything, isn't it? Yeah, because...
Yeah, that trend's only gotten worse. Bill, men were only 40% of college students in this last year. And if you think about that, you could just say, hey, progress. But then you have to ask yourself, well, what will millions of men without college degrees do for a living?
Something's just happening right now. I've heard a commotion.
And a generation or two ago, you would have said, well, maybe they'll get a job in manufacturing. Though we've now blasted away millions of manufacturing jobs, and those men haven't found steady footing since. You're seeing them actually fall into internet rabbit holes and become alt-right extremists. And there's actually a study that shows a direct correlation between losing your job and becoming unemployed and then adopting extreme right-wing beliefs. So this is having profound impacts on our politics, on individuals, and our society in a way that transcends this kind of individual situation. And the case I want to make is that...
You're saying we're creating Trump voters.
Holy shit, dude, it's T-Ring.
We 100% are.
Yeah.
Oh, we 100% are.
What the fuck is he doing?
So I'm a data guy, and unemployed men volunteer less than employed men, even though they have more time on their hands. So what are they doing?
Give me back my fucking nose! Let's give it back to him. Where the fuck is it? It was full of ecstasy. Everyone ate it.
They are playing video games, gambling, drinking more, abusing more drugs. And so you're seeing these social ills that include domestic violence, child abuse, self-destruction, and that is manifesting in our politics 100%.
All right.
If Marklar here wants to bring his Marklar to Marklar, that would be fine. Just take our Marklar back to Marklar and bring all the Marklar back with you.